have begun. Playtime has begun. And let's begin with acknowledging this. Today is 222, the 22nd of February, which if you're following numbers, if you're into angel numbers or numerology, then it's a day. It's a day of really calling in this two energy of this coming together, which is kind of eclipsy because your eclipse is about soul you and earthbound you. 222. So let's begin in this way. I was doing this earlier today because I went into a meditation on YouTube about the 222 portal because I just kind of randomly found it and I was like, okay, I'll do that. So we're going to start in this way, my friends. I'm just going to invite you to do the 222 breath with me as a way of like landing here before we get into playtime. And the 222 breath is exactly that. Breathe in for 2, hold for 2, and then out for 2. And the invitation is this: you're here. So let's be fully here. So we're going to use this 222 to really like arrive in our kind of open and curious, intuitive way so that we can get the most out of our playtime today. So my friends, feet on the ground if you can. I've got my feet on the ground. I'm so excited. I've been waiting all day to connect with you all. And so let's ground in with our 222. So it's 2, count of 2 breath in, hold for 2, and then out for 2. And the way we're going to begin is just let all of the air go. Sigh it all out. I've fully arrived. Even if you're catching the replay, please do this with us. Just let it all go. And then in for 2. Hold. Let it go, my friends. 2. And just arriving at this magical day. We're right in the middle of an eclipse season. It's a doozy because there's a lot going on. So however you're feeling, maybe you want to go back to that 222 breath if you're like, I've been feeling a little bit triggered, or I'm feeling a little bit confused, or I'm starting to get really giddy because there's a new possibility. Whatever it might be, let's just keep grounding into breath while we explore this eclipse magic together. So if I'm new to you, my name's Deb D. I'm the founder of the Be Her Collective, and I love eclipse season. Like I literally get giddy. It's better than Christmas. I love it. I love it. I love it. And what I'm here to do today is share why I love it. There's a very specific reason that I love it. And there's a very specific way that I want to talk about it. And there's a reason why. So I'm going to like expand on what eclipse energy is for us all. And then we're going to play. Over the last few days, I've been asking here on Substack, plus also in the Be Her community, which is the dedicated online community for women who want to be working their intuitive wisdom, want to be with soul sisters doing the same, want to choose themselves as the main character in their life and in their story. Remembering who the fuck we are is what we do on the regular, my friends. More about that later because I have an invitation for you if you're not in the community. But I asked in the community and in the community here on Substack, what are your questions? What are your curiosities? And Michelle, who is here live, if that's the Michelle, because there's a Michelle live. Michelle, if that's you who put in the question, great question. I was like, giddy up. That's an excellent question for eclipse season. And the question was, what if I'm not really feeling anything significant at this point? How am I supposed to be aligning energy that doesn't feel dramatic or there's anything significant happening? Excellent question. I can't wait to answer it. And that question actually took me back to my journal of March 2025. I had to go digging in the journals, but I found what we're looking for and more in this journal. So we're going to get there. And I'm also here for any more questions or curiosities. So we now have a group of Intuitive HEroines here live with me. If you've got questions, put them in the chat because I am so here for it. If questions emerge as I'm talking, please put them in. Sonia says, I love that question and wondered the same. This so often happens. One of us asks a question and everyone else goes, following along, what's the answer to that? That's why I also love this question, because it speaks really clearly about a part of eclipse magic that I want you to know about. So I'm going to just take in a breath. I get a little bit excited. So what I want you to know about eclipse energy is, as intuitive heroines, is this. It is energy that is supporting you in aligning you, aligning the chapter you're in this life, aligning your soul contracts, aligning what you're up to next. So we get 2 eclipses a year. And so this energy is where the sun and the moon like eclipse each other. And it's like we also eclipse. Our earthbound self has this connection point to soul self, like to the soul path. So it's kind of like we get like rerouted, or we get redirected either in a new direction or in a, like, there's a closed door. I can no longer go forward in this. So eclipse energy is turning up twice a year to help us in our alignment of what's going on. What's going on in your world? And it is aligning in between 2 eclipsed moons, either a new moon leading to a full moon or a full moon leading to a new moon. Always comes in pairs, sometimes a 3, and in between, that bit in between my hands, that's the eclipse corridor. If you tuned in to the new moon solar eclipse that I did on the 17th, you'll know what I'm talking about with this corridor. But what I want to focus on today is, yes, the corridor, but also what happens after. Because eclipse energy happens twice a year, where we get held by our spirit tribe, also by our own intuition, telling us the truth, which is guiding us, right? And they're guiding us towards what's coming up, right? So eclipse energy is the rearranging moment, and then we play out that rearranging over the next 6 months until we hit the next eclipse season. So let's peel it back for a second, because I really want intuitive heroines to understand this, because as intuitive heroines, we are following our own intuition. We are guided by the moon because it gives us structure in our moves. And we're also following these bigger energy patterns. So the first thing I want all intuitive heroines to understand is just to understand eclipse energy. And then further down your path, you might be like, okay, I understand eclipse energy. I got it. I'm jiggy with it. Now I want to know about the North Node and the South Node. Or now I want to go deeper into the planets at play. Or now I want to go into the particular signs that it's in. But if you are still getting jiggy with it, with like, I think I got it, stay with, this is the 2-week period, twice a year, where my intuition is going to be heightened because the veil between worlds is thin, and I am going to be supported in my soul path. We just want to be really clear about that, anchored in that, before we add on any of the other stuff, right? So if that feels like you're still getting it, that's okay. Just stay, I'm still getting it. And I got twice a year, and it may even take me a few eclipses before I'm like, oh, right. And that's all that you need. And then if you wish to play further, you can add all the other stuff, right? Now, I'm going to make a point here. Let me make a point about eclipse energies. During eclipse energy, we are guided towards being in our feelings and listening. And we want to be in our feelings because our mind can do a whole heap of storytelling, can mess us up with limiting beliefs, but feeling is like a navigator in itself. So if something's feeling good, you want to get closer to it. If something's feeling funky, you're like, I'm going to step back and question that, right? So we want to be in our feeling and in our listening because that intuition is clear or able to come through in a more direct way because that veil between worlds is thin. And so one way that you can work your intuition is with journaling. I've been journaling since like, I don't know when, like Dear Diary, that was me, little girl, right? And I've got stacks of them and I keep them because there's often things in the journaling that end up becoming part of my teaching or whatever. And so I dug into the pile of journals and I found this beautiful red one, which was March 2025. And March 2025 was an eclipse season. So whatever I'm writing in this journal is eclipsey. So I'm like, let me see what's going down. So we had on Thursday, the 13th of March, a full moon eclipse. So I turned over this page because this is where I start eclipse energy, right? So then we're going to flick through because this is what I did. I read it today and I was like, oh, this is very revealing. Oh, yeah, this is very revealing. And then we get to this page here that I've also turned over. I'm going to read something out right now because it's going to make my point. We're now in the middle of the eclipse season in the journal, same as we are now, and I'm in my listening and my feeling, which means I'm just kind of writing out a whole heap of whatever's coming to me in my journal. And this is one of the things that came to me. What if you spoke less about the planets and more about being her and intuition? Do that. And that's the last thing I wrote on that page. Do that. And look at this. We're 12 months later, and what am I doing? I'm doing that. Because this became really clear to me. I was like, even me, I know a lot about the planets and the signs and how it all works, right? I'm not an astrologer. I mean, I've studied some astrology, but I wouldn't say I'm an astrologer, but I get it, right? And sometimes I can get a little bit like, there's a whole heap of information about Aquarius and the North Node and then the South and this and I can sometimes get a little bit overwhelmed with it. Right. So I was really clear. It's like, how do I help the women? It's like, just like less planets and just more about be her and intuition. And that's all through eclipse season. Be her, be her, be her. So it's story time, my friends. Let's go back to March 2025 when we had an eclipse season. In March 2025, I was living here, but I was not the founder of the Be Her Collective. The Be Her Collective wasn't even a thing yet. I was the founder of Big Life Magic. That's a company business that I had for more than 4 years. And so in March, I am in Big Life Magic. I am also supported by a consultant position that I had at a public speaking and storytelling business that I'd worked at for years, like 9 years up until this point. So I was in the magic realm, the community was happening. I was working with the community and running other masterclasses. I was also doing this consultancy coaching on the side. And then I look at what did Deborah write about in March? What was I writing about in March? Because when I look at March 2025, it wasn't dramatic. It wasn't. Michelle, this is the bit where your answer comes in. Sometimes it's not dramatic. Sometimes it's more of just like we're just going to start edging you in this direction, which is why we want to be really in the listening. What is repeating now? What can I not stop thinking about? Or what do I feel like I want to be talking to my bestie about? What's that thing that I want to figure out or talk about? And what's coming up in my journaling? This is where I find a lot of my reflective space because I'm just talking. I'm just like talking about my feelings, my dreams. And so I am in March 2025 in one of those eclipses which is, it's happening. Like, I'm excited because I'm excited every eclipse, but it's not dramatic. Everything is like, it's all happening. It's just, I'm just happening. Oh, my nose. I'm living my best life in Big Life Magic. But I look back over my journaling, and how many times have I said, be her, be her, be her, be her, be her? I just started working with the Be Her leaders. This is the one-on-one work that I do. I'm talking about how much I'm loving that. I'm talking about wanting to do more around Be Her. I'm talking about community, community, community. I'm talking about how can I, this was my question in March 2025, how can I be a writer more? Like, I love all this work with the women. I love the work with the leaders. I love the work with the community, but I feel like I want more time for me as a writer. This is what I'm writing about. I also, towards the end of the eclipse season, I start writing about, okay, I'm getting all this indication of like, be her, do more of the be her. If you do more of the be her, that's going to lead towards what it is that you're seeking, right? Then towards the end of the eclipse season, in the journal, I start journaling about, okay, well, it's time to take Big Life Magic really seriously. I'm going to actually register as an LLC. I'm going to go and do these things that I meant to do over the last 4 years while there was a global pandemic. I left New York, moved to a small island, got married, all the things. Hadn't got around to doing any of that stuff. Big Life Magic, I was a solopreneur who was also doing some consulting work. Little did I know that by May, Big Life Magic would close, and I, in June, would get an LLC for the Be Her Collective. And what happened before that? I left that consulting job. This is not clear in March. In March, I'm talking about I want to write more. I'm talking about be her, be her, be her, be her. I'm talking about I want to do less like planets and confusing stuff. I want to talk to the women about how do you actually be her? What's the lived embodiment of it? So when you have an eclipse season where it feels like nothing's going on, it's going on. It's just maybe not obvious yet. If you are someone who's journaling, you might want to go back and look at your journals if you've got them left behind from months ago. You could either go back to September last year or you could go back to March last year. They were our 2 eclipse seasons. But 1 year ago in eclipse season, I didn't know yet that the Be Her Collective was on its way. I knew Be Her. I knew work in more leadership. I knew I wanted to write more. Where am I a year later? A year later, I am the founder of the Be Her Collective. The community is transforming. I am now working with more women in leadership, in the Be Her leadership, and I see myself as a writer first, but more than that, I see myself now as my job as the founder of the Be Her Collective and the Intuitive HERoine, who's inspiring and engaging 1 million intuitive heroines. 1 million came up a year ago. I think it's the first time I wrote it down. My job now, I believe, is to be writing, speaking, and teaching all about this. So I was focused on it's about the book, it's about the book. Yeah, it's about the book, but it's actually about communicating the teachings, connecting with women so we can create community, which is the collective. So we have some women here. Let me know. Give me like a thumbs up or something like, am I making sense? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? In that sometimes what's happening isn't obvious. Sometimes it's just a little redirection. I'm getting some love hearts coming up on my screen. So what you want to do now is you want to tune in with, how am I feeling now? What have I been hearing? And this may come through a meditation. This may come through your journaling. This may come through a conversation that you have with a new person or a friend or colleague, right? Because sometimes an eclipse is gentle tap in a direction. And then over the 6 months that follows is when you're going to start to figure it out and things are going to start to really rearrange, but it's all seeded. The navigation, it's almost like the spirit tribe comes in and they take your GPS and they go, we're just going to reroute you a little bit, right? So you want to be listening with where am I being directed towards or away, right? Because I also wrote in here about, I think it's time that I leave Fearless Communicators, the consultancy job, right? That I left in May. But in March, I was like, I'm feeling the end of that coming. Because Eclipse in that redirection is going to be some endings and some beginnings. So sometimes it's not obvious at first. You may not know for 2 or 3 months. And it's like, oh, that's why I was thinking or feeling that back there. That's why I kept getting that message. That's why I started reading those kind of books or listening to that podcast and following that person, whatever it might be. And some eclipse seasons are going to be really dramatic. I'm actually having quite a drama-filled one right now. So know this, intuitive heroines, because we've got 2 a year and because we've been living our best lives for a few years now, we've got a few eclipses already under the belt, right? And more coming. So we can't have really dramatic eclipses every time, or else twice a year, there's a massive rearranging, right? Of these bigger endings or the amazing new beginning. Like, no, the intuitively lived path doesn't work like that. We've got to give it some time for the path to unfold, for the magic to align up, right? It is happening. It's just maybe not on the timeline that you thought it was, or sometimes it's happening and it doesn't feel like anything's happening. Or sometimes, like an eclipse that I'm having right now, it's really fucking clear what's going down in Magic Town, right? Like this eclipse, I could feel it even before the eclipse was coming. And I was just like, I don't really want to think about that. I definitely don't want to feel about that. You know, I just kept kind of like trying to find my ground and anchor, right? And then it is undeniable, my friends, undeniable, a really clear navigation I am receiving right now. To the point where today I said, this cannot carry forward. The information I'm receiving is so clear that if I believe myself to be an intuitive heroine, I must follow, because there's not a question mark here. It's clear that I am at a point where the story shifts. Yeah. It's my story. I'm the heroine, and here, earthbound, we've got free will. So it means I get to decide what I'm going to do about that. So what I have been really tuning into in the last 2 days for me is this. You don't have to do it all now. Yes, you've received the message that this is changing. Here, clear navigation. This is changing. Clear navigation. I don't have to figure it all out by the full moon on the 3rd of March. That is not aligning eclipse energy. What we want to do is we want to relax into, okay, right, magic memo received. How do I feel about that today? Stay in the eclipse energy. Understand that it's unfolding. How do I feel today? And today I was really clear about the fact that I receive. I receive. And then what came next was this. So what's the next move? So what's the next move? And that's where I got, well, there's more than one move I could make here. There's a clear way, but how am I going to choose to move that way? And that's where I really needed to tune in a little bit deeper. And when I got the clear navigation around what to do next, I felt that it was the right thing. So we're going to stay with our feeling and our listening. So when we get some clear navigation, it doesn't mean it's great news, because sometimes the navigation is like, but I don't want to let that go. Or that's not the way I wanted to go. Or that feels too soon. I don't feel ready. Right? I've felt this. I've been like, damn it, I've worked really hard to not get to this point. Why am I at this point? And I want to say, what I'm talking about, I was also talking about in March 2025. It's been an ongoing story. And it's my story. I'm in the story. I'm the heroine of the story. I'm owning the story. My move is next. Yes, the universe, your intuition, and your spirit tribe is going to give you navigation. The navigation is just the direction. You make the move. You don't have to feel like you need to make a move immediately, because the energy plays out over the next 6 months. But for me, today, I was like, okay, I need to know what is the next micro step to take. I do not need to figure all of this out now. I know that this will be figuring itself out over the next 6 months. So what's my micro move to make now? Yeah. And when I received that this afternoon, I felt it in my body. Before that, let's rewind. What's happening before that? I got really fucking angry. Like out of nowhere, my friends, out of nowhere. Everything was fine. Everything was fine. And then suddenly there was just this point where I was just like, oh no, the bottom's just fallen out of that. Deb's just suddenly like enraged. And I was like, there's some full on feelings. What are those feelings telling me? They told me a little story. And then I was like, okay, so the story that anger is telling me, where do I want to go next with that story? And what the anger was telling me was around some boundaries and around some recognition and acknowledgement. And I was like, okay, so then what do you want to do about that? So we want to unfold gently. No rash moves. In an eclipse season, please do not try and control anything. Stay in the day, stay in what is the micro step, or what do I need to hear more of? Because if you're having a big eclipse like I am having right now, know this, you are being divinely guided. It may not feel like it in this moment, but this is the navigation that is going to support you for your highest good, for your evolution, for further down the path, even if it feels like a sad or a mad thing that's happening, or if it feels like an outrageous idea about something that you might just want to do. Like I've had other eclipse seasons like that where just like, oh, that'll be fun. Oh, I never thought about it in that way. So it's not always bad, but an eclipse is going to give you these endings and these beginnings and beginnings, the opening and the closing, to move you further along your story. And sometimes if you're still in a chapter, you're going to get some navigation within that chapter. So every eclipse is going to be different. What we want to do as intuitive heroines is ensure that we are surrendering into, I'm going to allow the guidance. I'm going to be really in my listening. Like, how do you like to listen? For me, it's absolutely journaling. Like I am a little bit obsessed maybe. I was thinking about it earlier today. I was like, if I go to the sheep farm or if I go to the beach or if we go on the boat, I have to have a journal and a pen with me. I can't go on any of those outings without a journal, just in case there's something I want to write down. So journaling is my thing. For some people, it's going to be like dancing it out. For other people, it's going to be walks in nature. For some people, it's going to be like surrendering into listening to some music or maybe getting into a nice warm bath or whatever it is that helps you to be reflective and to be in your listening. You want to be doing that. Meditation, if you're into meditation, please double it. I've been doing more with just surrendering into, okay, I'm just going to completely surrender into breath and listening. It doesn't mean that every meditation is like, wow, that was so amazing. I got this amazing download. No, it means that you're lowering resistance so we can be in the listening. We have Regina here says, same, my journal is never far away. Now, I want to say this, find your groove. For me and Regina, it's writing and journaling. If that is not your thing, you can give it a red hot go and you can see if you can find your way in. But some people's magic doesn't roll that way. You might be more in the movement or you might be more in the stillness. You want to figure out, how am I best to listen? Because right now the veil between worlds is thin. That's what we get twice a year, this thinning of as above, so below, which is why our listening is heightened. And I also want to say this, Intuitive HERoine, don't go and subtract yourself out of the equation. Yes, now is a time when you really want to be listening for guidance from spirit tribe and soul direction and, where is the definite nope or where is the definite yep or any other navigation. But you are also in that equation, which means you are not only surrendering to universe guide me, you're also higher I am me guide me. Right? And if we can just surrender control twice a year for 2 weeks, it is like putting on the soundtrack to your soul dance. It's like aligning with this is for me rather than feeling more confused or unsure. This is what happens when we get into allowing the guidance. So March 2025, again, I had no idea that I was going to leave a job that I'd had for 9 years and loved, or that I was going to close Big Life Magic only to start a new business. But now, a year later, I am so in the groove that I am supposed to be in. So in. A year ago, I wanted to spend more time writing. I'm doing that. And that energy is coming back to me in opening, expanding ways. Like, one of my questions was like, how does a writer get paid? Like, how can I build this muscle for me so that it's more of what I do? I know more of that now. And that's a year of my life. It doesn't come like that. It becomes because you live in your sweet life. And the listening and the feeling continue. This is just like a really peak time. Right? Yes, Regina, I love it. Tribal beats open up my channel too. Then you'll find me running for the journal. Yes, yes. I don't necessarily do the tribal beat, but I definitely do the rolling around on the yoga mat, move it out of my muscle and my bone and my joints. That can really get the writing going for me sometimes. Actually, it's not hard for me to get into writing mood. A few times a day I'm journaling. But that's me. I'm a writer. I'm a communicator. This is what I do. I love it. Yes. Rose says, I'm so inspired to try different ways. Yes. So I'm here now. Is there any questions? Is there any curiosities for the women who are here? I'll just give it a couple of beats. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you about the full moon eclipse. So for the women who are here, I'm here for your questions. And if you don't have one now, but it kind of pops up later, whether you're here with me live or catching the replay, please put it in the comments of this live because I will be watching out for it. So On the 3rd of March, we have our lunar eclipse. And a lunar eclipse is when the full moon is eclipsing. So we've already had our new moon eclipse. Now we're moving towards our full moon eclipse. And the full moon eclipse is going to be the end of this eclipse season where we're playing with the thin veil. And every full moon, I am with the women of the Be Her community, and we're in either a moon circle or I host a masterclass. On the 3rd of March, it is absolutely a moon circle because it is a lunar full moon eclipse. Hello, I am going to be bringing the high magic. And for anyone here with us watching this live or catching the replay, if you want to be with us in that circle, then stay tuned because tomorrow and over the days between now and the 3rd of March, I am going to be creating an open invite for women to join us inside the community and in that moon circle. So a full moon eclipse, particularly one that's ending an eclipse season, is going to be about gathering all of the navigation and maybe surrendering a little bit more if that's a part of your navigation, or maybe finding the courage to step one of those micro steps forward. That's what I'm going to be holding for the women of the Be Her community, and anyone who feels called to be with us in the circle, you are welcome to. I'm going to make it really easy. You're going to be able to fill in your name and your email. You will get the Zoom link. You will be there with us. It is on the 3rd of March at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time in Zoom. So stay tuned for your invite. If this is calling to you, answer the call because we have a really amazing time in the community. And here's what I want you to know about the community. It's a place, we're now in year 5. And it's a community where the energy of the community is safety and freedom and a deeper breath and time to connect with yourself and remember who the fuck you are. And so for different women, they come for different reasons, but we all find the same thing, which is women need safe spaces to relax into themselves. Women need spaces where they can see what's possible for themselves and see other women also stepping into this possibility. That's what we do inside the community. And the thing to know about women, when we connect in safe spaces, we are literally calming our insides all the way to our outsides. We are connecting and bonding, which creates this oxytocin, which is what the female nervous system wants. So it's like literally medicine. It is. It's magical medicine inside a moon circle with amazing women, and you are invited. So for now, I don't see any more questions coming through, but I hope that the answer to Michelle's question has supported you in understanding some eclipse seasons not going to be big and dramatic, but we still want to be listening. We still want to be finding our way to reflect. Do you write it in a journal? Are you talking to a friend? Are you rolling around on the yoga mat or dancing it out? We still want to be in our listening, even if it feels like nothing is going on, because it is. And if you are in a dramatic eclipse season, like the one I am in right now, you just keep breathing, darling. If you need to scream, scream. If you get really angry, honor that rage, but allow it to pass through you and find what's next. If you need to, like me today, put on a song that you know is going to make you cry, because you know it. I hit that moment this afternoon. God, it felt so fucking good. Highly recommended. Do what it is that you need to do and know that you are divinely guided. Even if it doesn't feel like it, even if it doesn't feel like much is happening, it is happening. It is happening right now, Intuitive HERoine, because that's the intuitively guided path. We only ever get to see what's coming next. And what's coming next is your move, Intuitive HERoine, because no one can ever take that away from you. You will always be intuitive, and you were born to be the heroine. So this eclipse, to stay listening, because you will get the navigation you need, because the next move is yours. Big love. Maybe see you in the moon circle. I will be staying tuned. Thank you. Big love.